Hi there and welcome to another Coffee with Colm, and thanks very much for tuning in. The objective of this series of Coffees with Colm is to explore business through tiny little snippets of my own story, which I've chronicled in the book Feeding Johnny How to Build a Business Despite the Roadblocks. And I want to explore elements of my journey in the hopes that by sharing my story you might pick up something that can help you on your journey, on your business journey. Perhaps give you an aha moment where you can gain a shortcut where back in the day I didn't have one. And so on a weekly basis I want to cover particular topics. The topic for this week talks about the inevitability of problems that you will encounter as you build your business. You're going to encounter problems, that's for sure. It's a fact of life. And specifically today I want to talk to you about encountering HR problems. I'm going to tell you a story from my book, a little snippet, and it's called Blow Up. And if you enjoy what you're hearing, if you enjoy this particular topic, feel free to leave a comment below if you can relate to it. If you'd like to share it on, please feel free to do so publicly or privately, entirely up to you. Most importantly, I hope you get something from the lesson, and hold tight on that lesson's coming up soon. Thank you. Okay, let me tell you a quick story from my book Feeding Johnny, and this story is a snippet in the book called Blow Up. And it relates to a particular time in our early history when we were growing very fast. And when we were growing very fast in those early years, we were building systems and building our team rapidly and changing it rapidly, and every day something was different, and every day we had new people to train in, and you know, it was a heady time, a challenging time, but a heady time. And one of the mistakes that I made at that time was I appointed somebody to a senior role, or a role of responsibility, based on her seniority, not based on her capability to do the job. I thought it was the right thing to do. Turns out it wasn't. Anyway, so I appointed this girl, we'll call her Josephine, to protect the innocent. But I appointed Josephine to the role of head of our kitchen team, and she was responsible to make sure we produced all the sandwiches on time, in full, safely, etc. And she had a whole team of people to help her. But the team was growing rapidly, and the numbers of sandwiches we were required to produce was growing rapidly as well. So the pressure was immense, and very quickly the cracks began to appear. All of a sudden it became her kitchen, and they became her team. And my involvement, my interference, as she called it, was neither welcomed nor appreciated, even though I was the one that had the experience. Now, oftentimes if you appoint somebody to a position, if they've got more experience than you in a particular area, sometimes it can be okay to let them go off and do their own thing. In this particular case, it wasn't. I was the one who had the experience, she wasn't. Great girl, lovely person, but just didn't have the experience, and really probably her biggest problem was she wasn't willing to listen. So eventually one day I realized this was heading to a point of disaster, and I decided to call a halt. And I called her into my office mid-production one day, and I said, okay, sorry to say this, but it has to change, and it has to change now, and effective immediately. I need you to go back in and run the kitchen in the way I'm about to tell you, not because I'm the boss, but because I have the experience. At this stage I had close to 3 decades experience versus her couple of weeks. And she looked at me, and I tell you, if looks could kill, I wouldn't be here today. She looked at me, she walked out of my office and walked out of the building. And her mother was working with us at the time, so she took her mother with us. Mother actually popped into my office, a bit shell-shocked, just to say goodbye, and they left. And for about half an hour, truthfully, it was a problem. I thought, well, I've overstepped the mark here, big mistake. My mistake, she paid the price, but I also had a business to run. I had to recover quickly. So I went in with one of my other colleagues into the kitchen and called an impromptu staff meeting, called a halt to production, and spoke for about 10 minutes about what had happened, wished Josephine all the best, but really and truthfully at that moment, now I needed somebody to step up and give me a hand. And I remember it was like a sea of white coats parted, and this young lady popped her head out and said, I'd like to help. Her name was Magda, and I'm delighted to say that we recovered the situation. And Magda then went on to have a whole career in Carambola over the years in the area of purchasing. So what looked like a problem at the time turned out to be a blessing all round in the end. Not an easy time, not an easy call for me to make, but the right call for the business. And so some of the lessons found in this particular story includes the fact that problems are inevitable. You will have problems. You will have problems whether you build your business or whether you don't build your business. So long as you're above ground, you will have problems. The second lesson in this is that you will make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable. As my parents used to say, the man or the woman that never made a mistake made nothing. So you will make mistakes. The trick is going to be to recognize when a mistake was made and to rectify it quickly. And the way to rectify it quickly is to ask yourself, what do I need to do that's best for the business? What do I need to do that's best for the business? Because in that answer lies the right decision. And then you need to fix it quickly, and move on. Crucial that you move on without looking back over your shoulder. Delighted to say there was a happy ending to this particular story. I met Josephine sometime later. I met her at the airport, and truthfully, for a while, our eyes darted back and forth. We weren't sure what to do. Finally, we simply hugged, asked each other how we were. I asked how her mother was. We wished each other well and got on with our lives. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little story, and I hope you enjoyed the lessons contained within it. I hope you also enjoyed the fact that we had a happy ending. But if you did enjoy this, and if you're enjoying the Coffee with Colm series and you'd like to find out more, pop over to our homepage, colmobrienmotivation.com. Put your name and email address in there, and we'll send you regular updates of this nature. If you enjoyed it and you want to pass it on to some other people that you think might relate, feel free, simply pass on the link to whomever, privately or publicly, entirely up to you. And then most importantly, bear in mind the lessons in this Coffee with Colm as you go through next week, and then come back next week for another Coffee with Colm, and we'll explore another topic yet to be decided. Cheers. Love that. Talk to you soon. Bye.